And welcome back to Game 2 of LV Gaming versus HGT. I have tea now. We've got caffeine. Hopefully, the obvious issue in Game 1 will be sorted out as we go and get ourselves into Game 2. So now that we've got caffeine in our system, let's go! LV Gaming versus HGT. We got a Death Prophet Skywrath Mage being picked up by HGT. While on the side of LV Gaming, they're going to go for the Enigma once again. So Demons is going to get to play his Enigma. They're going to be running a Viper as well. But I have to say, I'm really liking HGT's first 1-2 startup. As Bulba and Misery were talking last night, I really agreed with what they said when it comes to like the Death Prophet just being one of the strongest heroes, if not the strongest hero in the current meta. Such a powerhouse, man. And is able to fit so well into many different lineups. Has enough versatility to go for the push squad while still being able to fall back on the late game. The second set of bans, though, resulted in both the Mirana as well as the Faces Void being taken out by LV Gaming, and I love this. I am actually really, really enjoying Inflame's choice of draft here in Game 1 and Game 2. So look at what they did, right? So they took away the Mirana support, which would be paired up with the Skywrath Mage, making it really strong. But the most important thing for me is they banned away the Faceless Void, one of the best AoE offlane teamfight heroes to work with the Death Prophet. That AoE disable works so well with the Exorcism, being able to just hold those heroes and let the Exorcism eat into them. Then they go ahead and pick up the Tidehunter immediately into the second phase. So they get themselves, they ban away one of the big AoE heroes, and they take the other one for themselves. So they essentially blocked both of those out while also keeping the Mirana away from HGT. And it's not like Tidehunter isn't going to work well for LV's lineup at all. And like, if you consider like a block pick wise, it still has a full amount of functionality here for the LV squad, as the Tidehunter Ravage could be a really good setup for the Enigma Black Hole. HGT are going to be picking up an Ancient Apparition here, and that is one of the better mid-game counters up against the Viper, thanks to the Ice Blast. Really cuts down on Viper's natural tankiness, and is also able to result in disabling that mech, possibly, which is a pretty big factor as well. Now, LV Gaming, they still need to pick up both their carry as well as another support, and Shadow Shaman was banned away in the first phase.
Radiant team pick.
So instead, they're going to pick up the Vengeful Spirit here. Now, the Vengeful Spirit certainly is strong.
Dire team ban.
They're going to get themselves some minus armor synergy between the Tidehunter as well as the Vengeful Spirit. Increase of physical damage for the Viper. All things looking pretty strong, but they're going to need a real big do-shit carry, and I'm talking like something like a Luna or a Gyrocopter. In my mind, they've got so much team fight, they've got a little bit of push thanks to the Vengeful Spirit Aura as well as the Enigma Eidolons. But they're going to need a bit more of a snowball hero, in my personal opinion. The problem is that they run something squishy like the heroes I suggested, Luna or Gyrocopter. I don't think they should actually pick those up, because you have both the Clockwork, the Ancient Apparition Ice Blast, the Skywrath Mage Mystic Flare, as well as the Death Prophet and that Exorcism. So you've got a lot of single target potential damage here. From the side of HGT. So I actually think they need to pick up something that's a little bit more tankier.
Dire team pick.
And Dragon Knight wouldn't have been a bad option. You can run that in the mid, put Viper as the one position. That's the other option, right, is LV Gaming can run a ultra aggressive lineup that depends on the different mid, with the Viper being run as a safe lane farmer.
I speak for the trees.
And that was not what I expected at all.
Team pick.
Furion going to be picked up by LV Gaming. We've seen the Nature's Prophet last night. We actually saw Furion being run as the mid laner. And I wonder if this is another possibility here. Ember Spirit is going to be the response, though, from HGT. And, well, they just picked up an Ember Spirit into a natural Orchid hero. Zyph is going to be running the mid. Nice. Called it. Still going to be running the off-lane Lin Tidehunter, and Inflame is going to be taking over that one position. Expect Demons to grab his Enigma, and that just leaves our last player, who I am forgetting who that is now. Who's our last player? DDC, of course, DDC! How could I forget DDC? He's one of my favorite players, man. That guy is a beast.
Prepare for battle.
Long DD, DDC, those two, man. Some of my favorite supports to watch. This thing is always so freaking weird. Look at it. Weirdo. Like, why does he have like a sunflower down here? He has this little flower. Just looks like one of those piranha plants from Mario. We have a smoke gang. HGT are going to find DDC here, already slowing down with the concussive shot. This should be a free kill. Magic Missile stun onto Icy. They're still going to catch up in range of the chains, and first blood. It's going to be for Pretty Haw as well. So HGT already off to a great start. We're going to be looking at them. They should be running a defensive tri-lane, off-lane Clockwork, and a mid-Death Prophet, I would say. But they may change things up on me. The two supports, yeah, they got to be going bottom. Dual lanes isn't really going to work out for them. They just need to pull and farm and get to their level 6 as fast as possible. Now, ZSMJ, we do have a nice little bit of synergy here between S's Chilling Touch and the Sleight of Fist. For those of you who don't know, it does actually apply the Sleight of Fist hit with a ice or with the Chilling Touch on top of it. So in the first couple of units that you hit, you will actually be able to get that. So it's a really good way to be able to give your Ember Spirit an extra boosted damage while he doesn't suffer from the attack speed slow. But obviously, Sleight of Fist doesn't really care about that. So it's a pretty interesting way to kind of use the Ember Spirit. Also, the Ancient Apparition is still going to be a very strong hero going into the mid to late game. We already talked about that. Pretty Haw is going to be run here. In the offlane, they're going to go for Zyph. DDC does have a stun. Does manage to land it there on Icy as the cogs push Yurion back out. If he had been able to trap him, that could have been an early kill, especially with that Skywrath Mage having an Illusion Rune on top of all that. So the dual lane is going to work out pretty favorably for them, solely because of the fact that we have ourselves a Furion as a safe lane farmer here. The mid lane matchup is going to be Death Prophet versus the Viper. Inflame is going to be taking over the Viper, the mid role right now, just in order to play the Viper. Probably the better hero to be matched up against Kaka's Death Prophet anyway, so it makes a lot of sense. Bottom lane, you have Lin trying to intercept some of these pulls, or at least claim the last hit. As he's just tanking up against S, doesn't really care too much. As long as he can get those last hits, that's all he's really looking for. So losing a lot of health in the process, but will be fine thanks to his boots. Meanwhile, our mid matchup, now that we have boots up on Inflame, early set of boots up against a Death Prophet, there is a very small period of time where he can really abuse Kaka now. Kaka is probably going to be going for a bottle build. And DDC currently sitting there with a dust or smoke and is trying to wrap around to try and gank Kaka, but not finding any openings. Meanwhile, S is actually going to be able to get himself a double damage rune. Top lane, Furion continues to be forced back as he's actually trying to make use of this neutral stack that's happening here. They're going to go for that one creep, gets it with the Treants. Good enough for them right now. DDC is going to have to turn around, stun up Icy once again. And now there goes the battery assault. He's still going to catch Zyph, and Zyph, not sure why he ran this way, but he's just going to get run down as they're going to dive into the tower in order to claim the kill. And at the same time, they get a counter kill on the Viper as well in the middle lane, as he somehow gets caught. I guess by that extra bit of burst damage. Either way, though, LV already off to a pretty bad start against a lineup that they really need to make sure they win the laning phase against, because you can't afford to have this Ember Spirit and Death Prophet start their snowball. As they certainly have a very, very strong mid game and late game oriented squad. Purely because of the Ember Spirit, it seems like. I have to say, though, going into the late game, ZSMJ, I think, is going to be required to have a BKB because look at the initiation here. Ember Spirit is always a very glass cannon carry in general, but he's dealing with 2 different big initiating, 3 actually. Lin's going to be caught out. The Cold Feet is going to proc. Now he's going to be able to wipe that one away, but it looks like the last hit is still going to be able to finish him off. Ember Spirit just runs into him with that Flame Guard and is able to do enough damage over time to finish him off. Now having the phase boots as well. If he can get phase boot drums by about 8 minutes, it'll probably mean about a 20-minute Battle Fury if all things go according to plan, which is a very, very good start for the Ember Spirit. This game isn't going to be as easy for the Ember Spirit in the late game as I was originally saying, mainly because I'm looking at this and there aren't any carries, but at the same time, we do have 3 different great initiating tools. DDC's Swap isn't going to be as good as many others, but mainly the Ravage and the Black Hole, which just one of those could be enough. Icy diving in pretty deep here into the Tier 1 tower and is going to be copping a lot of damage for his efforts. Can't forget that LV do have a farming, jungling Enigma. And that is a big advantage for them to hold. So while the laning phase may not be going so well when it comes to kills, they can still be ahead in golden experience. Oh, pretty hot. Wrong way to run in. He's going to be caught here by Demons. Malphite going off. TDC does not have a stun as he's run completely out of mana. Zype, meanwhile, trying to get close enough in order to land a Sprout. Not going to be in range. And it looks like he may actually get out at the exact same time. Inflame is running his way up, so he's actually going to corner Pretty Haw. Pretty Haw, though, is just delaying beautifully here. Like, they finally do get the kill, but it costs Inflame a rotation all the way up to the top lane. But it looks like they're going to try and take some early towers. Inflame is already here, and they've got the level 3 Treants. I guess why not? Leave the middle lane for Lin to farm up for a short period of time.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
But as I say that, they've already backed themselves up, and later on, like the Death Prophet is going to be an excellent hero versus these kind of Furion pushes. Just being able to sit back and spam out the Crypt Swarm makes for a fairly formidable defense against
Dire's
LT's
bottom
push.
tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
ZSMJ trying to beat into this bottom tower. Meanwhile, we have an attempted gank onto Inflame. They're going to go for the dive here. Inflame already trapped inside the cogs. It may be a return kill onto Icy. Inflame's trying to do as much damage as possible. Inflame can run himself away, and Kaka can actually finish him off. He didn't have enough mana for a secondary Crypt Swarm. That kind of felt like it should have been a 1-for-1 there. But Viper managed to get himself back to base. Death Prophet maybe should have invested a little bit, a couple of bottle hits before he went in to be a part of that team fight. The battle of the supports here in the top lane. Pretty Haw with his Skywrath Mage versus DDC's Vengeful Spirit. Both of the supports are farming up the top lane while their carries are away.
Dire's middle tower is
Arcane's
under
Boots
attack.
picked up by Lin. He hasn't actually been stacking up Ancient. He tried to stack it up once, but it was blocked out immediately by the ward. DDC gets silenced up, couldn't get off the stun in time. Now going to be thrown inside the cogs, and DDC won't even be able to get off a magic missile. If he had, he might have killed Icy. Now Zyph is going to come in, try and help out. Viper slowing down Icy, still gets the secondary kill though. The same time, Inflame, while he's silenced up, he can't actually get off the orb, but he will just run down Pretty Haw all the same. Teleports, mass teleports coming in. 2 more. Pretty Haw's going to die. Inflame trying to get himself to the side here. He doesn't have a teleport away, and he will be dying as ZSMJ and S successfully rotate in order to claim that dominating streak. So that rotation doesn't cost ZSMJ. Well, it costs him, but the Ancient Apparition gets a large amount of gold for the spree.
Radiant
So
structures are
still
fortified.
worth it for them. 7-4, 8 minutes in. And the push here from both the Furion and the Enigma. Again, are going to be resoundingly defeated over and over again by the Death Prophet Crypt Swarms spam. Tidehunter, meanwhile, in the bottom lane, is getting some decent farm time. Already had his arcane boots and is now going to be able to pick up a lot more if he's left alone solo in this lane. Or even better, DDC is going to rotate down with an Invis rune. If one of these heroes rotate, and I say one, but it looks like HGT are going to have a full team rotation almost. They have their Clockwork, their Skywrath Mage. DDC. Smoke is popped. Actually managed to dodge the hook shot there. Ravage goes out. Now they just need to try and get themselves away. Ice Blast over the top, though. He's going to be able to hit Lin. Now the Skywrath Mage ultimate also dropped. And Scythe comes in into a terrible team fight. I think they had no idea there was going to be so many heroes here, as they actually turned to fight, which in a situation that should have been just a clean extraction for them off of that Ravage. At least Inflame is pushing in the top lane, but it's not going to do so much for them as LV, I don't know, man. Scythe is just so far behind right now. I mean, he needed to be able to have a quick Orchid in order to shut down this Ember Spirit, but I don't see how he's going to be able to pick that one up.
Approach you.
He's already got a Phase Boots and Drums on the Ember Spirit, so he's got all of his mid-game items. Now he can start focusing on that Battle Fury. The bottom lane, Lin's going to be able to have some backup once again from DDC, but they're certainly not going to be nearly as aggressive as they were last time.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
9-4, 10 minutes in, we have a 3,000 gold lead for HGT. 3,000 experience lead as well. HGT certainly making much better use of the early game than they did in game 1. As they're taking a lot of early map control, they arguably have better late game.
Dire's bottom tower
And they'll also be able to claim that tier 1 tower, bottom lane. So
Pull roots and run.
the push here from LV is just not really working out. Neither the Enigma nor the Furion have yet to claim a tower. Looks like they may claim their first one here in the top lane as the rotation's going to come in from behind. They have both the Ice Blast as well as the Rocket coming in together.
Radiant's top tower
As they
has
travel at
fallen.
the exact same speed.
Dire's
Scythe takes the
middle
hit, but at the
tower
exact
is
same
under
time,
attack.
HGT, while they give up
Dire's
a
middle
tower in the top
has
lane in
fallen.
exchange for both a bottom
Radiant's
tier
top
1
tower
as
is
well
under
as
attack.
a tier 1 in the middle lane as well. Tier 2 taking a lot of damage.
Dire's
DSMJ
bottom
runs
tower
himself
is under
out.
attack.
Looks like he's maybe thinking about trying to chase down some heroes. Not going to find anything, so instead he just focuses on cleaning up some of these creeps, as the Eidolons give him plenty of gold for his time. HGT looks like they're going to go for their first 5-man here with the Exorcism, as Kaka has that ready to go. And if they can finish up this tower, if Kaka in fact gets the last hit, he will have a Eul's Scepter pretty much on the way. So this is big. At the same time, Ravage is up for Lin. If they can get some sort of opening for a Ravage onto Kaka and burst him down, that's their best option at this point. But they really don't have a whole lot of burst damage. They do have a lot of damage over time with Inflame. The support Vengeful Spirit isn't the most amazing nuker in the game. So in general, it's feeling a little lackluster for their side, especially just because the two supports are lacking some heavy nukes. Still, though, HGT is still going to be forced back bottom lane. Scythe is going to be caught. He's going to go straight for the tower. I think he knows he's dead, so instead he's going to try and make sure the tower goes down. But deny picked up by ZSMJ. Top lane, turn around. Demons looking for the black hole. So far, 1 for 1. They get the Viper in exchange for the Clockwork. The buyback from Scythe, though. They need more off of this one. A gush onto the Death Prophet. Not going to be good enough. S will teleport himself away before Lin can think about ravaging. And that was a buyback from Scythe that didn't actually catch any additional heroes, and that means they have to take this tier 2. There are no other options for them, as they don't want to be wasting that amount of gold. They do get it, and LV continue to keep moving forward. DDC looking for a swap, but isn't going to find anybody just yet. And right now, HGT just need to buy time for this Ember Spirit, who already has another 2,600 gold. It is going to be working its way towards that Battle Fury in a very short period of time. Inflame. He's got his mech and a Ring of Aquila. Demon's going to be going straight for a BKB, looks like, this game. Ah, there it is. Lin. That Blink Dagger pickup. They desperately needed this kind of initiation. That was something that was lacking this whole entire time, was a good way for them to hit one of those big team fight ultimates, and it's going to be through the Tidehunter Blink. Now that they've got that, though, they need to be, I feel, very aggressive and trying for some fights, or at least get a pick off on the Ember Spirit at some point in time, because he's already got his Perseverance and almost has one of those big damage shielding items as well. I don't know. Battle Fury is pretty much inevitable at this point in time, but you need to try and push uphill before he has double Battle Fury, because that will be impossible to push up against. Mech finished by the Ancient Apparition, though, and that's going to even out the mech advantage that LV were holding on to in the last team fight. Looks like instead of going for it, Tier 1 Tower is going to give up in the top lane in exchange for Roshan here for the side of LV. Not a bad exchange, honestly, if they make use of this Aegis that they pick up in order to claim the last Tier 2.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Rocket. It's going to reveal that they are doing Roshan right now. They may not be able to get there in time. Smoke up. Actually, they will. Ice Blast over the top. Hits on 3. And the Clockwork looking for that initiation. But Inflame trying to block him out. If he goes for the hook shot, runs right into Inflame. Goes, wait, what? What the hell happened? Pretty high. Immediately drops the ultimate. No, Lin! He gets pushed down into the pit. He won't be able to get off the best Ravages of his life. He still catches out 2, though. Ensures the kill onto the Clockwork. Now the rest of LV continuing to fight over Roshan, but the Exorcism has gone out. They're targeting Roshan, actually gets killed by the Dire and picked up by the Enigma, and the Yule Scepter being used just in time in order to dodge the magic missile stun there. Scythe getting low. The Death Prophet Exorcism will be able to finish him off. Demons also getting low enough. The silence onto Inflame. The rest of LV, that was such a beautiful cogs, though. Bouncing that Tidehunter to the right side, kind of ensuring that they wouldn't be in as bad of a position with that Ravage, as it not only blocked out many of LV's pursuing heroes, but also pushed the Tidehunter into the Roshan pit. "16 minutes in, 12-7. Not quite the fight that LV were really looking for. They lost their Furion. And the Death Prophet as well as the Ember Spirit have gained a lot more farming time off of that team fight. They need more, and is that it? That's the Battle Fury. Battle Fury up 16.5 minutes in. That is incredibly fast for ZSMJ. I mean, if you think about Anti-Mage timings and him being able to pick up a 13-minute Blink Dagger,
top tower is under attack.
That's pretty fast. Right, 13-minute Blink Dagger feels, 13-minute Battle Fury. It's going to be a long day. 13-minute Battle Fury is pretty good for an Anti-Mage, right? That's without having these excessive items. Phase Boots, drums, maybe even a wand and a poor man shield. Like, that doesn't include those items. So the fact that ZSMJ, the Ember Spirit, a hero who naturally doesn't focus on farm as much as an Anti-Mage does, was able to pick up so many last hits that he's sitting in 17 minutes in having Battle Fury and now thinking about building into a secondary one is insanely fast farm. Of course, it does help he's been a part of 7 kills so far, has yet to die. And love this pickup, Blade Mail for the Clockwork before the 20-minute mark. Another impressive item pickup here for the side of HGT.
Radiant's courier has been
nice
killed.
pick off on the courier.
Radiant's middle
And
tower
he'll go
is
back
under
and finish
attack.
off a Blade Mail of his own now.
Uproot you.
Radiant's middle tower
Still
is under
though,
attack.
LV feels like they're really just stalling out to where ZSMJ as well as the Death Prophet are getting so damn big in this period of time that that they are soon going to be unlikely to be able to take team fights on the side of LV Gaming. That's why they're going to go for a smoke. They need some sort of pick off to turn this into a tier 1 tower. Gonna rotate onto the Death Prophet in mid. Ravage goes off. No Yule Scepter being used. Now Demons comes forward. There goes the Yule Scepter. Black Hole gonna be holding in Kaka for a little bit longer. Ice Blast over the top is gonna be able to catch two. Inflame takes a large amount of damage from that Skywrath Mage ultimate, but he's tanky enough to be able to survive, and it looks like we'll get 2 quick hero kills as LV Gaming managed to get themselves away and should be able to take control of this tier 1 tower. At the same time, ZSMJ is just farming up the top lane and split pushing where they can, but I think LV have to force this into a tier 2 in the middle lane as well.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
I don't think they have many other options. They had to do something big like that one, though, dropping both those ultimates.
Structures are fortified.
Inflame's going to be going for the pipe, 5 seconds up, and an Ice Blast is going to force LV back. That is just way too much damage. LV Gaming won't be able to get that. Silence onto Zyph. Blade Mail going out, just making sure he's not going to be taking that Skywrath Mage ultimate. And the chain's also going out. He may die to the neutrals, but not even that. Pretty Hawes, the one to claim that last hit with the last nuke. And they still get a pick off, as LV should have been a clean retreat there, but don't even get that much. "20 minutes in. HGT feels like, I mean, I'm counting this in like 2-minute increments, but every single time I'm going, Ember Spirit's getting bigger. Ember Spirit's getting bigger. Death Prophet. Death Prophet may have died. He's still got 2,100 gold in the bank. If he's able to finish up a heart, he is going to be so damn hard to kill because we don't have that much damage from the side of LV. A lot of disables, but a lot of big-time team fight ultimates, not necessarily the greatest damage dealers in the world. Now, Inflame's going to be targeted, has the pipe to be able to protect him for quite some time here. As Icy's going to be hit by the magic missile. Swamp goes out. Inflame doesn't actually shatter there. TDC is going to lose his life up against the Ember Spirit. Anchor Smash goes off, but not enough to be able to land. And they still haven't actually used the Aegis here on the side of Demons. A full-up Crystallis can be purchased by the Ember Spirit by this point in time, but I think he's really going to be anchoring the second Battle Fury here in a few minutes. As that will make it such a hard hero to push up against. Another Ice Blast in. LV really got to start dodging some of these. As well played. Kaka actually managed to get the deny on that middle tier 2. And there goes that Aegis. Nigma will regen back up to full, but if they can just take control, I mean, maybe go for the next Roshan, but LV, they got to go uphill soon. Maybe they can get the double refresher. I mean, again, as hard as the Ember Spirit hits, and as far as damage dealer goes, he's going to outcarry all of LV, but if they can get like a big double ultimate like Ravage, Black Hole on top of it, there should be no reason they shouldn't be able to kill that Ember Spirit. I mean, you build all the damage items in the world, but does it really matter if you only get off one side of fist? Crystallis was purchased by ZSMJ, so he's going to be going for the Daedalus first. Meanwhile, Demons, I'm expecting him to go Blink Dagger as well. He's already got the BKB. They don't have anything to stop him except for the hook shot. That's the only thing right now. There it is. Exorcism going to be used here in the top lane. Inflame is in position to try and defend. But it's a very tough thing for Inflame by himself to be able to do something. Hook shot in. DDC's ready with the swap at any point in time. The black hole is going to go out, only catching Pretty Hot though. The Ult Scepter is also going to be able to protect. Kaka comes in, gets hit by the Ravage though. After that, Ult Scepter swap back in. He's going to be in some serious trouble. Will be right-click down. Lin losing his life up against the Sleight of Fist and gets a secondary kill onto the Enigma in the background. ZSMJ now fighting up. 1 versus 2. Doesn't have anywhere to run to. Sleight of Fist finished off the Furion, but he dies to DDC. He gets right-click down. Man mode Vengeful Spirit will claim the 1100 gold for that kill. And we'll be able to finish off a 4-staff and have some extra gold on top of that one. So they end up kind of winning the team fight, but they need bigger, so much bigger than that. That was a Ravage being used as well as a black hole. If the Furion had lived, would have been a lot better for them. But as it is, that's not the case, and now HGT will go right back to farming and pushing out some of these lanes. As long as they delay the push from LV, it's not much they have to worry about. Roshan is going to be up here in just another 5 seconds. So Inflame is going to check right as Roshan.
Boom! There it goes.
Of course, that always happens. It's like Roshan doesn't spawn when you're looking as a player. Just feels like that doesn't happen. It's like watching what's that phrase? Watching a water boil. You know what I'm talking about. It just seems to take so much longer if you sit there and actively watch it. Well,
Come.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
Death Prophet ultimate being used here on this middle tier 2. They're going to keep it alive though with Lin. Or at least maybe. I thought that was enough resistance that Kunkka didn't want to run forward. Concussive shot it's going to hit on Lin. And the last bit of damage required will be able to finish off that tier 2. A lot of gold. Floats in the way of HGT. On the side, Inflame is actually going to be able to catch Pretty Hot. Good enough for them. They get a pick off on a support. We'll turn this into a Roshan.
Do it with
So
flair.
Aegis, I have no idea who it goes on. Oh, bottom lane. Furion trying to teleport out. Silence goes on him. Ice Blast as well. And he will be eliminated. Now they just need to catch Kaka here.
My honor in your blood.
Kaka going to the right side. Buyback from the Furion. Already taken out the Death Prophet. They're going to go for IC as well. The buyback may very well end up being worth it here for the side of LV if they can turn this into a tier 2 tower push on top of those double kills they just got. Only 2 heroes left. The push here in the middle lane. Inflame's got to be careful. They're pinging him out. They know he's alone. And they're going to go for the kill too. ZSMJ ends up missing the chains though. The Ice Blast will be able to land. Inflame's going to be taking up a lot here thanks to his pipe, but he will eventually be going down a silly death for the side of LV Gaming when they kind of should have been assured to take down the tier 2 on the bottom lane without casualties. The split push from the Viper really was unnecessary. Still though, they do get that tier 2. Now going to go back on and do Roshan. Level 20 Ember Spirit has a Battle Fury Daedalus and another 1400 gold. Definitely needs to hold on to buyback, that's for sure. So the Age is going to be picked up by Zyve. Makes sense. He was the last one to use his buyback. And he is technically the 1 position here, though he is not as farmed as neither the Enigma nor the Viper. They're actually sitting at 2nd and 3rd right now. Of course, vastly outdone by the Ember Spirit, who's so far ahead. But again, that's just 1 hero, and they've got a lot of big AoE disables, a lot of big team fight ults to hold them in. Lin is... Okay, they got to finish up this refresher first. I was going to say maybe they can't wait for the refresher, but now seeing how close Lin is to it right now, it's they absolutely should wait for it. Smoke up. LV. Gonna try to find a pick off here. HGT doing something very similar here. The sad part is they don't have sight. Now, Demon's already getting low. BKB is going to be forced to use. He does have a Black Hole. Ice Blast is not going to be hitting anybody there. The Sleight of Fist will finish him off. Ravage goes off, not hitting anybody. Yule Scepter dodge on the right side. Icy getting low, trying to go on Inflame. Not able to finish him off just yet. Furin's going to come in, finish off pretty hot, and the Clockwork real quickly. But that's just the supports. They have to deal with the main carry here. There goes Tidehunter, CSMJ with that double damage rune, just ripping through these heroes. Now the Force Staff away. Zyph, though, still going to be caught. Buyback from the Enigma. Needs to come back in and hit a critical Black Hole off of this Aegis. He's waiting on the side. Looking to find his initiation, but the rest of HGT, they saw the buyback, and they're just going to get themselves out. No sense hanging around in what could have been a critical turnaround with that buyback. They took the Aegis. They took a buyback away from Demons. That is good enough for them. The Ravage is going to be on cooldown for a while as well. So all is well for HGT. And LV, once again, in a really bad position, looking for openings here in this game, but unable to find it. They need to find one critical team fight and see if they can actually take a set of racks, but they just don't seem to be getting any openings here. So 22 to 29, we have, well, the gold lead is about to go up in the favor of HGT. 2,000 experience lead as well. That double damage rune, what a fortunate pickup there for ZSMJ. Was just ripping through those heroes, man. Demons thought he was protected by the BKB until that first hit of the Sleight of Fist came in, and he was just like, holy crap, I am almost dead. As this heart is going to be picked up by Inflame when he has enough gold. But it's going to be a while. And what other items do we have being picked up? There it is, the BKB for ZSMJ. Really love that pickup. Think it's absolutely necessary here. He doesn't need more damage. Heart finished up by Kaka. Already has a plate mail. And we also have the Ancient Apparition, who's trying to finish off a full Ags right now. So all in all, they're in a great position. The Refresher is going to be a big upgrade here for Lin, but other than that, I don't really see anything that's going to change this game. As LV, they went for a more early game-oriented lineup, and now that the defensive BKB pickup is up for the Ember Spirit, I don't think there's any way they can win fights. Unless they catch him out first somehow, or get a really good Black Hole and are able to just right-click him down. Ember Spirit is super squishy, but at the same time, it's just, you need a lot more than that.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Illusion.
So there it is, denying the top tier 2 tower. Lin is also going to finish up his Refresher, and the only hope is that LV get an amazing team fight now in the next couple of minutes with this Refresher. Zyph is also going to be building into a Scythe of Ice, so if they can finish that one up as well, that'll be an extra disable against the Ember Spirit. Again, it's going to be all about that initiation and whether or not they can catch out the Ember Spirit. LV still sitting back and still farming up. I mean, I can understand the Scythe of Ice, but I'm surprised the rest of their squad isn't actually focused more on staying grouped up and maybe trying to pick off this Ember Spirit. I don't know. Do they really want to wait for a heart? Is that going to make that big of a difference here for the Viper? He does have it up in 700 gold, but I feel like so much of this game is just being delayed too much. Then again, it's already kind of too late for LV anyway, so they might as well finish up all their items. If you're an ultimate bouncing around, we are going to have the exorcism being committed. DDC is going to go for the swap onto ZSMJ. no ultimates coming out just yet. The BKB going to be activated by ZSMJ. Demons turn around looking for the black hole. Is going to lay it down. And they're going to try and right-click down ZSMJ in the process. Ravage goes off as well. They do have the power to pop him. Now Lin comes in. Secondary Ravage as well. Takes down 2 of the supports real quickly. And they also have the Clockwork who's going to die on the side. S finally does get right-clicked down. And now they can move out, man. That was a big, big win for them as CSMJ dove in pretty deep there in order to force out the black hole. They need to be able to try and force the top lane in. If they'd been able to get off get the Death Prophet on top of all that, they could have forced some buybacks with just an immediate teleport from the Furion to the top lane. Unfortunately for them, it doesn't look like they're going to force any buybacks as HGT are sitting pretty comfortable. As long as they're continually forcing the fights on LV's side of the map, I don't think they can actually lose. Because they're just not going to be forced into using their buybacks. They'll hold on to all that extra gold. That Ice Blast, plus the Rocket, so obnoxious. Like how they always target the same area together, too.
Pull roots and run. Thanks.
Double damage rune in the bottom lane, but I'm not sure if that really makes a difference for Zyph here. Sight device is up.
Damage.
I don't know, man. LV are just letting this game draw out. Can they actually push this into the late game? I really don't think so. Ember Spirit is so much stronger, but they do have the big team fight ultimates. That's the only upside to their late game for the side of LV, which is, hey, we can actually get double Ravage and double Black Hole up, which is pretty bad, pretty damn big. It looks like the next fight's going to be all about Roshan here. 2.5 minutes in, everything should be up for both sides. Double Ravage, Black Hole. And it almost looks like Demon is trying to get a Shiva's before he goes for a Refresher, which is fine. There's no big deal with that one. I would also love to see an Aghanims here. I think it's actually pretty legit versus Ember Spirit. He may not be the tankiest hero in the game, so you may not be getting so much damage off of that necessarily. But the Midnight Pulse, that magical damage, can still eat through him pretty quickly. This late into the game, the Aghanims is always a big upgrade for the Enigma.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Even if you don't have
Dire's
your
bottom
typical
tower
strength
is under
heroes.
attack.
One of these times, man. One of these times, this Sleight of Fist is going to get the Ember Spirit caught.
Dire's bottom tower
So
has
Deny
been
goes down from the
denied.
Viper. HGT don't really seem to care too much about that. They get... The tower still dies. That's what they care about. Leaving that bottom lane exposed is the most important thing. Mass smokes come out. They're going to have 2 on the side of HGT, while 1 is bought by the Vengeful Spirit for LV Gaming. And this is about the time that Roshan will be spawning back. It's actually going to come up in a minute time, but both teams are going to be looking to try and go for a smoke pickoff here in the next 30 seconds to a minute, I bet. Because if you can find that pickoff, you immediately turn it into Roshan, a free Rosh. And that is huge. I mean, that is game-winning for HGT. LV need the Aegis. Like, there is no other options. They need every little advantage they can get right now. Furion has another 3,300 gold, so not quite enough for a big luxury item, nor can he buy maybe a smaller item and still afford a buyback, so he's got a... Buyback is kind of essential for the Furion. This is the only way you can really use him advantageously going into late game, is being able to take advantage of those buybacks and have 2 lives for every fight, even if it is on the other side of the map. And all things being quiet, it's seems like HGT, eventually they're going to get fed up. The smoke up is going to come out. Roshan is up at the same time, but it looks like they're going to go to the top lane. If they can find Nature's Prophet, he's already teleporting out. He's good. He is gone.
With flair.
And HGT are just going to search the enemy jungle, continually looking for those pick-offs. LV on the same time. They're going to go straight for Roshan.
Invisibility.
This is a very greedy decision by them that could end up getting them caught, especially since HGT have 2 different abilities to scout out the Roshan pit. But if a fight happens here, look where the Furion's at right now. They're trying to force HGT to keep their attention here on this Roshan area, but Ember Spirit being one of the best heroes to defend these exact kind of split pushing scenarios. He's got himself a Remnant
Radiant's
near the
bottom
Roshan
tower
pit,
is
while
under
also
attack.
is going to be
Boom.
defending this bottom lane. Furion did force him back, but again, not a big enough advantage for them to try and go into the Roche pit just yet. And Daedalus is up now for the Ember Spirit. So, double Daedalus instead of double Battle Fury. I'm okay with this. I mean, I think people have shown how the double Battle Fury or triple Battle Fury can actually be stronger than multiple Daedalus. But I'm still okay with it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. The opportunity to get that kind of burst damage sometimes can't really be measured. HGT are beginning to mount a response here. Roshan's going to go down soon. Already they're going to target Inflame, who's going to be the frontline hero. Gets forced back into the pit even, but it's still going to be taken out by that Crib Storm. They've already managed to grab the Aegis here. Demons looking for a blink away. Not going to be able to get it. There goes that Aegis. BKB as well, burned. And our Enigma is going to come right back with the Blink Dagger. Ravage going off, only really catching pretty hard there. And Ravage number 2. It is up for Lin, but he's going to be chased away by the Exorcism. He may have to use the secondary Ravage defensively. Not where you wanted to see Ravage going off. Finally does get it. Catches 2 heroes on the side. Clockwork's going to be held in right in the middle. Kaka, meanwhile, needs to be forced down, but they don't have any openings, and HGT are simply outplaying LV every step of this way. Now, Furion comes in with the buyback, starts focusing on more heroes. The swap. They really need the SMJ, but he misses the black hole! That was their opening. They had to get that kill, and as they don't get the pick off, Ember Spirit walks himself away from the engagement and will still hold on to a buyback. You thought it was going to be, I mean, it was already going to be so hard pushing in, but at least you could force a buyback on the side of this Ember Spirit. But they don't even get that much. Ghost Scepter on the Vengeful Spirit. Items. If you just, again, I feel like HGT are just slowly controlling this game. As long as they don't make any big screw-ups there, they should just be able to stretch this out. Now, LV are really trying to turn this into the best late game advantage they possibly can. For example, we have the Furion, who is now going to be building into some additional damage. Furion will become a really good right-clicker, but again, how can that truly compare to ZSMJ's power with that Sleight of Fist? It really just doesn't, unless you get the initiation on it. And that's just the name of the game for LV right now, is initiation. Whether or not they can eliminate Ember Spirit before he creams the rest of the team there with just 1 or 2 Sleight of Fists. Shiva's was finally finished up by our Enigma. And the straight up boots of travel for the Ember Spirit as well. Clockwork with the BK. So he has less to fear when he goes in for these very deep dives of his. And the extra smoke, HGT, they did have a 1 smoke advantage over LV.
Uproot and after them.
And that can make a pretty big difference this late into the game, honestly. If they manage to get a pick off here, such as on Inflame, they don't see him.
Do it with
Rocket
flair.
goes off, not going to find him. Maybe they do. Icy actually gets a long-range hookshot, managed to grab Inflame here. Now the Ice Blast over the top. Inflame is still so damn tanky. But the rest of the team is finally going to be coming in. There goes the swap from DDC. They turn around. Kaka is actually in some trouble. Ravage goes off. Managed to hit all those heroes. Ravage number 2. Not enough mana for it. And they're still going to be able to get off the Ravage finally, but his BKBs have already activated. And Lin in, he's going to go down. As LV unable to take advantage of that double Ravage, especially with the secondary one just being way too late. And LV, well, they're just going to start split pushing as soon as humanly possible, as Zyph knows that they, with no Ravage, like even if Tidehunter does buy back, he won't be able to have a Ravage. They have a black hole, but it's unlikely to be able to be an amazing one, as HGT just need to make sure they don't group up too much, and they will successfully probably get their first set of racks, or maybe even end the game with this push. Inflame, force that back. Will be able to get himself away, and ZSMJ turns into a piggy. Black Hole actually caught ZSMJ. Maybe they can right-click him down. Zyph is just not doing enough damage fast enough, and he will be able to remnant out. Pretty Han's going to be caught inside the Sprout. Targeting, swap, and Pretty Han will be eliminated, but at the same time, they can actually turn this team fight right now with the Ember Spirit. Trying to heal up, he can come back in, but they got the Death Prophet out. And there's no sense in the Ember Spirit going back in after they just successfully disengaged. Again, so close to picking off ZSMJ. Just do not have enough damage, do not have enough disable. Looks like Lin's also going to be going for Shivas. It's not necessarily the worst thing in the world to have multiple Shivas on a team. Just like when you get the refresher for the Tidehunter and have the Shivas. Still makes for a pretty powerful AoE ability, but I don't know, man. I don't know. 26-30, 45 minutes in. Gold lead is dead even right now. 7,500 experience lead for LV, so if you just look at the graphs, you would actually feel like LV is winning. Still siding with HGT when it comes to this late game, but you can definitely see how some of these team fights can be pretty difficult for ZSMJ, as he is the head damage dealer. And every single time they're trying to make sure they target him with these Ravages and Black Holes. Nature's Prophet now has a Mjolnir, but man, he needed so much more damage. More attack speed was something he was really missing when they were trying to finish off the Ember Spirit during that Black Hole time. And when is HGT actually going to try and push in against LV? Like, I keep expecting them to, because they finally have enough team fight that I don't think there is any issues across the board for them there. That when these sort of big abilities are used, the double Ravage and that sort of thing, why don't they actually try and push uphill and force the team fight while those Ravages are down? I mean, that's the only way they're losing these fights. Cheese is being held on to by the Furion. If you guys didn't know that, notice that one. He's got another 2,600 gold to start building into another damage dealing item. But for now, obviously, that needs to be a buyback. Kanka, well, he's about to be maxed out here. He can actually go for something like an Assault Cuirass if he wants to, but he has the Yules, BKB, Heart, Shivas, and Phase Boots. Trade out the Phase Boots for Boots of Travel and maybe get a Assault Cuirass as the last item here, just because it's highly doubtful the Ember Spirit is going to build one. He just really needs his current slots. Like, he can sell the drums for an extra Battle Fury or maybe even a Divine Rapier if he wants to go that route, and he'll actually be full up 6 slotted. Middle lane, going for the pickoff on Icy. They already used one Ravage, BKB activated. Icy actually managed a hook shot himself farther down. Zyph continues, he actually gets off a good Sprout and will be able to finish him off. Ravage number 2 is up for Lin, and he's looking for that opening, but they need to make sure they catch the Ember Spirit on this next one. Using a Ravage, just to be able to get a simple pickoff like that, not the worst thing in the world, especially since the Clockwork does not have a buyback. But they really just have to make
Radiant
sure
structures
that,
are
look at this,
fortified.
mass buybacks on the side of LV. While there is actually 3 heroes missing buybacks on the side of HGT. But split push coming in from ZSMJ. And Sleight of Fist does a decent amount of damage to him, but not quite enough. Pick-off time, Kaka. He gets a Yule Scepter onto DDC, and they're going to try and slow him down. The Ice Blast will be able to catch out both those heroes. Actually, Lin runs to the right side. Shiva's slowing down everybody. Black Hole catches them both. Where's the damage, though? Zyph is just now getting here. He's going to be too late to the party. The double BKBs make it so hard for them to finish it off, and with that Remnant away, they actually dodge the Ravage there that attempted to hit ZSMJ. Zyph still trying to fight up against him. Might just be able to take him down. He needs a proc, but it's not quite enough. ZSMJ, Sleight of Fist, will finally go down, and Flame is able to finish him off. But that was 4 heroes down in exchange for just the Ember Spirit, who immediately buys back, and ZSMJ says, finally, 49 minutes into this game's over. I'm going to get my MKB, replace my drums. Now we're going to try and force the mass buybacks here. And in return, LV, they're going to be forced to buy back on pretty much every single hero. If they don't get an amazing team fight, HGT are at such an advantage for the next 5 minutes.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
There's no big ultimates either. No Black Hole. No Ravage up. But it seems like that is still enough to deter HGT as they're going to back themselves up and probably peek their head into Roshan, which is not going to be up for another 40 seconds. And this may not be as bad for LV as I thought it was. Those mass buybacks definitely hurt, but they're going to be able to use these buybacks to try and take control of the Roshan pit. If they could get the Aegis and Cheese, it kind of makes up for 2 of those buybacks. Tidehunter still holding on to his, and he will have 1 Ravage up. In 10 seconds if necessary, both Ravages in a full minute. That was just such a good Black Hole, but between the BKBs, making them so tanky against a lot of the magic damage that was happening, but then on top of that, the Furion wasn't there at the beginning of the Black Hole. They needed so much more than they got. The MKB decision, I think, is pretty smart. I was expecting like something a little bit more damage focused, but we do have an invasion on the Viper, as he's going to be going for a butterfly later on. HGT are going to be wrapping around from the side and looking for an opening. First, they're going to go for Zyph. They're going to blow him up real quickly. Force staff forward. Zyph activating the blade mail, but he does go down. He has no buyback. He's going to lose his life. Inflame is going to be the next target here. ZSMJ making sure he has some openings to be able to get himself out. Where's the double Ravage? Tidehunter popped his Shivas, backing himself up. It looks like they're just going to leave Lin to die without the Furion and without the Viper. I have no idea how they're going to be able to defend this. But they're going to try re-engage here. HGT are got to be asking each other, you know, they don't have buybacks, right? They can't have buybacks. The Viper and the Furion bought back just 2.5 minutes ago. And now another Exorcism comes in. Kaka popping that refresher. Exorcism number 2 is going to be able to allow them to start beating through these buildings. And this is some damage that LV may not have anticipated seeing. Ravage number 1 comes up. Lin, refresh. Ravage number 2 waiting. Black Hole goes off, but the hook shot is going to be able to intercept that one. And Lin unable to get off a successful Ravage number 2. And LV being forced back. There goes the Ravage. Turns around onto ZSMJ, trying to finish him off. Swap goes out. Sleight of Fist, dodging some of the damage. He gets away. That's going to be it now. ZSMJ, after he survives, nobody's going to be up on the side of LV. And HGT will finally put an end to this long, drawn-out game. 52 minutes in. Heroes dead for at least 20 seconds.
Dire's bottom barracks are under attack.
HGT, there it is. Finally, Lin
Dire's bottom barracks.
taps out for the rest of his team, and that means we are going to be going to a Game 3. LV taking Game 1 pretty convincingly, but HGT strike back in Game 2, and that just means after a short little break, we'll be having Game 3 of the Sina Cup. HGT versus LV in just a few minutes, guys. Stick around.